Okay, hello team. We're gonna do not the existing activities, but the new activities we have in the school. Also, I apologize if my head is blocking the PowerPoint. I am not finding a way to move that. So if that blocks anything really important, reach out and we can cover that. I'm so sorry. So the first new activity, this has actually been in the school, but we haven't formally talked through it. So this is the roll the dice. So that is this guy. So you have the actual worksheet that the student will write on, and then kind of it's laminated. So it'll be the reusable one, and then all the dice around it. That was just kind of the picture that we took for social media. But the dice and the laminated sheet and the worksheet are in the mentor cabinet. And so they have a couple different colors, and we'll get to that. But some ideas with that is basically this one, you can give your kiddos all the choice in the world. What color dice should they use? How will they roll them? Are they going to bounce them off their head or toss it and see where their thumb lands? Do they want to draw the answers? Do they want to just write them? And if also this could be, there's so many options, it could be overwhelming. If your kiddo seems overwhelmed, feel free to do the even numbers or the odd numbers or just some of them, or finding different ways that may make it feel a little more surmountable for your kiddo. I don't actually have a picture of the bookshelf as I did in the first video, but the reason there are the three colors on this card is because this activity is pretty interchangeable for a lot of different stories, as they are pretty broad, and if they don't seem that way, you can do the same thing as you would do with the comprehension cube and kind of make it more applicable. So then the magazine scavenger hunt, I've not put this in the school yet, and I'll give you the heads up that I will be out of the office until January 9th, so they won't be there until January 10th, so sorry if you're a Monday mentor. It won't be there in time for you, but this is what I'm really excited about. So it's kind of, the growth area is the concepts of print and starting to understand aspects of print that will always be there and things that we use regularly, like a table of contents, that students may not have a grasp of yet. So this will all be in the mentor cabinet on January 10th, and I'm planning on having some magazines in the classroom with the bookshelf as well as some in the cabinet, so whatever is easier for you, but the rest of the supplies will be in the cabinet and not in the classroom. So this is it's gonna be a half worksheet. So I have a bunch printed out, which will be a half of a normal piece of paper. And so they just write their name and then the magazine title of the one they chose, and then a cover story, and then the rest are checkoffs of if you can find. I think most of them, I tried to make it possible that you would. They're all kids magazines, so that's why a cartoon is going to be easy to find, and some things that may seem a little bit geared towards a younger age. That is absolutely why. And so back to this one of what you'll need is you'll have the magazine, that worksheet, a writing utensil, and I also got a big thing of magnifying glasses. That is not necessary, maybe if the print is too small, but it is just for fun to make it kind of this more of a scavenger hunt feel. So feel free to use discretion if you don't think your kiddo would do well with that, but absolutely they are made for kids. They're just little plastic ones, so don't worry about any possible breakage. We plan for that. So yes, I already said they're not in the school. I'll bring the supplies. Actually, I already said all that, but you got it. There it is in print. So some other things to note outside of those two activities, you may have seen them already, is these two little circles. They're on the top in the first shelf. First of them is we have a lot of early chapter and graphic novels on the shelf. And I know during the trainings, we encouraged you kind of against it, but we've seen that kids are really loving it and that they have a really strong comprehension piece that we weren't expecting to really understand and remember the story from the week prior. So if your kiddo is interested, or even might seem like they could be interested, feel free to kind of push them towards that and see if they are interested. Especially with the graphic novels, those actually read pretty quickly. I know some mentors have finished a full one just sitting down if they were reading it aloud to their kiddo. So feel free to experiment with that if you are interested. And then this is kind of up top. We've got a couple of things that I think you've seen. It just hasn't super been explicitly discussed. But first is this book rating jar, and I'll cover that on the next slide. But number two is some of the new and highlighted books. It's just, I'm trying to make sure kiddos get to see what's on the shelf in the short amount of time that you guys have. I want to make sure that not too much of it has to go towards sifting through the shelf of things that might be interesting. So these are going to be new books. We got a whole bunch at the beginning of the year, and I've only put some of them on the shelf, and I'm switching them out. Or they might be books that are on the shelf that you wouldn't see within all the time if they're just in a whole bunch of books. So, and then the third one is the picture of the shelf organized, which this is where I say, please put your books back where you find them. That just helps with the organization. We've tried to make it as easy as possible. I know you're kind of being quick with your kids, but if you're able to do that, that would mean a lot. Thank you. And so then this is the book rating kind of system that we wanted to implement. It's very simple. There's just those slips. So you can take one for however many books. There's room for 2 books each slip. And so you just write the title and out of 5, how you rate it. I tried to make it some fun shapes, a little more interesting. So if you're not in classroom 208, you don't have to go all the way down there to make sure that you submit this. It's just a fun thing that we want to hear feedback from you and your kiddo. You guys can get to talk about what you think and want to make sure that we have books that are being enjoyed. And if they're not, we've already got some feedback, so that's great. And things also we would love for you to use it just on the same piece of paper is if your kiddo has some books they really wish were there or other ideas that you or your kid may have, put it in there. It's kind of just like, this is a method of communication that will absolutely get to staff. And if you've got fun ideas, constructive ones, book ratings, we want to hear it all. So this is a fun way to do that. So thank you for keeping your eye out with that. You can maybe see on here, yeah, there should be some pens in that little bucket for you. So if you didn't bring any utensils, but I'll try to keep that stocked. But that is all of the new stuff. Thank you guys for reading the newsletter and keeping up with what we've got. You guys are really crushing it, and this program is a huge success to you guys. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys have had a good holiday.